No, but like there's a herd of cattle.
Right, right. Yeah, I don't know what they're called.
A flock of sheep.
We should look that up. But right now we're going to take a draw. Okay. So you can write on the same paper, of course. You know what we're going to be practicing, which is the fourth declension.
I know the first three are oops.
Okay. So does anyone remember the word for army? Exercitus. So try to decline as much as you can of exercitus in the singular and plural. Okay. Remember, this is the declension that's marked out by what letter?
U.
U. So they almost all have a U, or sometimes more than one U in them.
Can I use the fifth?
Today's the fifth.
One.
Did you read the 27th?
Who knows?
Wait, what's the date again?
It's February 5th.
It's the 5th. I thought you said the 25th, but then it's like
What was it?
February.
4th.
I was about myself today.
Well, we're declining the noun
Can I-
marks. We're declining the word exercitus.
This is gonna be funny. So I'm going to watch a really bad dog.
Decline. Well, remember, so it's going to have a U in most forms, but otherwise it pretty much follows what declension? Third. So it has pretty much the same endings as the third declension, except they have U's in them. So underneath that, I want you to give the form of a couple individual fourth declension words. So, domibus. Give the form or forms of domibus. Okay. Case number and gender. Also help you to revise your declension. Okay. The next one is dombus with a long U. Dombus. What can that be? Remember, it can be more than one thing. Is domum. D-O-M-U now. Domum. dom, u, with 2 U's.
Bless you.
You're working backwards, guys. So domu is what form? Genitive plural. Good. And does anyone remember the gender of domus?
Masculine.
It's actually feminine. So most of them that we learned are masculine. There's a couple that are feminine. This is one. So manus is feminine and domus is feminine. The other ones are going to be masculine. Okay. Very nice. Genitive plural. Good. What about domum, which is 1 U? Accusative singular. Wonderful. So accusative singular and then feminine because the noun is feminine. Very nice. Then we get to domus. What can domus with a long U be? Genitive singular. Very nice. Nominative plural. Good. And accusative plural. 3 things. Very nice, guys. Good job. Okay. And still feminine.
Genitive, nominative.
Genitive singular. Nominative plural. Accusative plural. Because what would the nominative singular be? Domus with a short U. Very nice. Very nice. And domibus?
Oh, wait. Ablative and dative.
Plural. Beautiful. You guys are pretending you don't know anything. You know all the answers. That's good.
Or so we think.
Well, you're answering them, so.
Okay. I wrote them right in the chart, but I wrote them wrong in the.
How?
Which is copy. I have no idea.
All right, so using our chart, so again, what's army in the nominative singular? Executus. Good. With a short U. Genitive singular?
Executus.
Executus. Very nice. With
How
a
do you
long U.
emphasize the U to make it sound different?
Executus.
Okay.
Yeah, basically. It's like powerful short. What's the dative singular? Two-we, very nice, good. Just like, oh, my marker's there. Just like the dative singular ending for the third declension, right? This is a long I. Exactly, two-we. Good. Accusative singular? Executum, good. And ablative singular? Executu, very nice. Because remember, the ablative singular always ends in just a vowel, usually the thematic vowel for the declension. Very good. Nominative plural, armies? Executus, very nice. Genitive plural, Mark, what's the genitive plural?
It is executum. Executum.
One more, executu.
Two.
So two.
I had to use it this time.
I know, I was just trying to be a thing. So 2 U's, good. The dative plural, Emil?
Executibus.
Kitibus, good. Accusative plural, Adele? Executus. And ablative plural, Emily? Very nice. Good. Are there any questions about the 4th declension? It sounds like you guys have it pretty much down. Good, because we're moving on to the 5th declension next week.
What? Are we actually moving it next week? Okay.
She doesn't do it.
I was gonna have you do it. I was gonna have you do it this week, but we'll see. Yes.
We should do it right now.
Right now? No. Let's go to finish off our reading. The women have their say.
Maybe do like pronouns class. How do you feel about this reading? You already answered the good.
That's fine.
Oh, I just grabbed my bike.
The women have their say, page 18 of the green book.
It's almost like
just finished. What's the subject of this reading? Women being awesome in Rome, right? So we just finished yesterday reading the story of Vittoria. Who is Vittoria? Shirley, who was Vittoria that we read about yesterday? What did she do that made her a famous Roman woman?
Oh, she told her son not to attack Rome.
Good. What was her son's name? Does anyone remember?
Coriolanus.
Coriolanus or Coriolanus. Very good. So now we're going to learn about other famous Roman women. Okay. Does anyone want to take the first sentence on the top of page 18?
Nope.
Nope?
I will let
Sounds like a
them in.
volunteer. Nay, thank you.
Outside. Very good. Oh, this was a hard sentence. I can get to the second one.
Okay. Nate's going to give us the first sentence. You can do it.
Et qui Romanus fractus Cloelia non promotus est dixit Caeculia.
Good.
And who is the Roman that?
Good. So this is a little tricky because we want it to be and who, right? But it's not quite who because it's going together with qui and Romanus. So this is not the interrogative pronoun who. What kind of word is qui here? Good. Very nice. It's the interrogative adjective. So, and which Romanus?
Which
Roman. Good. Which Roman or what Roman? Very nice. And then you can move on to your verb because that whole thing is your subject. So, and what Roman?
And what Roman did not allow?
Remember our per motus there. What did per moveo mean?
To move through.
To move through or to move deeply, right? Or to upset.
Oh.
And this is, what form is per motus est? It's that tricky form.
It's one of the parts. Or
It's using the fourth principal part, that participle, plus a form of sum esse, which makes it what? What tense is per motus est?
It's a passive.
Perfect passive, good. So, and what Roman perfect and passive?
Was deeply moved.
Very nice, except there's a non in front of it, so was
not
deeply moved. Perfect. So what Roman was not deeply moved or upset
by
Good.
the deeds of Cloelia.
Perfect. Good. Dixit Caeculia.
No. Said Caeculia.
Perfect. Good. Okay, does everyone see how that sentence is working? It is a tricky sentence. Good. And Aaron, you want to?
Yeah, sure. Captiva et castris est Etruscorum postium Romanorum fugit et frumen tranavit.
Good.
So the captives from the Etruscan camp are enemies. And fled and swam.
Good, really close. Good. So it's not captives though, because that would be captivi. This is just captiva.
So singular.
Singular and what gender? Captiva.
Feminine.
Feminine. So we're talking about Cloelia now. So we could say she being a captive or captive, captured. Okay. She fugit. She.
She fled.
Good. From the camp of
From the-
Etruscorum. And then what case is that, Aaron? She fled from the camp. Etrus-
Of
Good.
the,
Of the Etruscans.
yeah,
The Hostium Romanorum.
the enemies of the Romans.
Perfect. Good.
And swam the river.
And swam Tra. She
Oh.
swam trans the river.
Through.
Through or across. Very good. So she, having been captured, fled from the camp of the Etruscans, the Romans' enemies, and swam across the river. Okay, so the Etruscans, does anyone know who the Etruscans were?
Weren't they people that they conquered really early?
Good, and so the Etruscans were this major civilization. So there was the Etruscans to the north, and then the Latins, the Roman people down to the south. Okay, so there's two major forces in the region, and so of course they were going to start fighting. So the Etruscans have a camp across the Tiber River. This is the flumen they're talking about. And Cloelia escapes from their camp and swims across the Tiber to get back home to Rome.
Isn't that a hard river to swim across?
No, it's not a raging wild.
I imagine it.
Okay. Does anyone want the next sentence? Adele? Thank you.
Eis temporibus facilis erat amon merere quod Romani dam Garibon vitit secunda.
Mhm.
Secunda said they used to wage war to them, but
So, I'm just going to stop you because the quad in front of, so you're absolutely right, there's they used to wage war, but in front of that is a quad. So we're going to hold off on that because that's some kind of subordinate clause, right? Anytime you see a word like quad or qui or ubi, right, you want to bracket that off. So we're gonna come back to that. What's the other verb in the sentence?
merere.
Merere comes from a verb, but it's what part of the verb?
Infinitive.
Infinitive, right? So we're still going to need another
Erat.
conjugated. Erat, very nice.
So was
Good, so it was facilius.
easy to them.
Easy, facilius, easier, comparative. So it was easier, eis temporibus.
Or time.
So we have a time expression, right? Because we had the word for time. And what case is eis temporibus?
Dative or ablative.
Ablative, so it's the ablative of
Time.
time when. So how are we going to translate that? In those days and those times,
It was easier.
it was easier. Good. And then it makes sense that we're going to have an infinitive, right? So in those times, it was easier.
To merere.
Good.
So, and that.
Remember the fourth pencil part? So there's mereo, merere, meri, meritus. So just like merit, earn, deserve, as
So
an
it's
example.
easier to earn fame.
Yeah.
Which they,
Quad.
which
Which or, what else can quad be? Because, good.
they used to wage war.
Good.
Or
So,
Romans or the Romans.
Because the Romans used to wage war. Good. So in those times, it was easier to earn fame, to earn a reputation, because the Romans were waging war.
Said.
That's it, exactly. Good. Mark?
Sed non hac est quid mulieres in pace efficere poserunt. But none.
Now, right?
What?
No, now.
Oh, right. Now. Oh, but now none.
But now est.
Two.
Est.
I want.
Est pax. But now.
But now.
So she's saying it used to be easier for people because the Romans were waging war all the time, but now
It's
est pax. What's pax?
harder. Right?
What's pax mean?
Peace.
Peace.
Oh,
But
right.
now
But now there's peace.
there is peace.
Because.
Quid, not quad.
Quid. It's a question.
Mhm.
Why? Or what?
Oh, what? Good.
What woman? Or
Mulieres. What?
woman?
Mulier is woman. Mulieres is. It's not. It's the same word.
That's just a woman.
Plural.
I-
Women.
Well, that's what I was saying.
Okay, so what?
That's what
and then
I was
what's the
saying.
verb that goes with that, Mark?
Efficere.
That comes from a verb, but again, what part of the verb is efficere?
That's the third.
It's the second principal part, which is
The infinitive.
infinitive. So we're still going to need a conjugated verb.
Posant.
Posant. Mhm.
Posant, which means.
What verb does this come from, guys?
Posant.
Possum,
Possum.
posse, which means
Able.
to be able.
So what women were able?
So what can
What can?
mulieres efficere?
Yeah, I swear.
What can women efficere?
Do.
Mm-hmm.
In what can we do in here? Or,
Oh, we just saw this word pake. We saw it in the previous sentence. What's
it
pax?
means
Just the sentence you just translated.
Oh, at peace.
In peace, good. So, but now there is peace. What can women do? Or what's a fikere very specifically? What can they effect, right? Bring about, accomplish. What can women accomplish in peace? Who hasn't translated? Emily? And Amelia, you'll go next.
Molto responded Caecilia, nonne vestales officiis sacris saepe Romam servam erunt deis inimicis. Many things.
Good, very nice. A neuter plural. Many things.
Uh,
Responded Caecilia.
Responded Caecilia. Did they not often serve the sacred duty of Rome when the gods were unfriendly?
Good, but who's they?
The women.
There's a nominative plural there. What's the subject here?
Oh, it's
Vestales, good. And who are the Vestales? Good. What do we call them in English? The
Vestal virgins.
Vestal virgins, or just the Vestal. So, and what tense is serva werunt? Emily?
Isn't it?
Not had, but just served. Good. So, and with the none there, so haven't the Vestals, haven't the Vestal virgins often saved Rome officiis sacris with what was officiis sacris?
The sacred.
With their sacred duties. Good. And then, as you said, this ablative absolute deis inimicis, when the gods are hostile, with the gods being hostile. Okay. So this is an interesting ablative absolute because there's no participle in it, right? And when that happens, it's because the participle that they would have is the present active participle of to be, which doesn't exist in classical Latin. Okay, so you would see things like Caesare Duce with Caesar being the leader, or Deus inimicis with the gods being hostile. But very nice translation.
Tuis non liviam bona memoria tenebit. And who does not remember the good Livia? Or good Livia?
Good. I would just say one little thing, the tense tenebit. Who?
Who doesn't?
Will.
Oh.
Right, like Bo Bisbet. Very good. So then who will not remember the good Livia? Good. Adele? The forum can't be the subject, right, because it's procedunt. But what kind of subject do we need for a procedunt? What does that NT ending tell us for verbs? They. Good. So she's talking about women again. So, but
they don't proceed in the form?
not in the form, because that would be in for, right?
But they don't go
To the form or into the form. Good. So she's saying, but women still can't go into the form. They don't mix with the men while they're doing business. Good. Nate?
Wasn't the forum like a shopping district?
Right. So I think they're referring to, so women would certainly be in the forum. I think she means like they're not going and doing politics and doing all the sort of negotiating that men would get to do. And they also often would send the women themselves wouldn't, if they were aristocrats, they wouldn't themselves go shopping, they would send their slaves shopping. Shirley?
Orationes egregias sacrae veterat trivia regavit. Can't Lilia make distinguished speeches?
Good. But not can't, because that would be potest. This is poterat.
Okay, so could it?
Good. Couldn't Lilia make excellent speeches? Fulvia asked. Nate?
Nonne hortensia causam Romanorum in foro eget.
They answer every question with a question.
Yeah.
So now she's giving examples of famous women who actually did go into the forum and did conduct business or do law cases there. She's saying None Hortensia.
I think I forgot to write this down.
That's okay.
Did Hortensia not go?
Eget Kausam. So this is an idiom. Does anyone remember? I'll go Kausam. What do they
just cause?
No, here it's not cause. Usually it is.
Downfall?
Not downfall, because that would be causuous. So this is an idiom. It's something they do in the forum. So there's the Senate is in the forum. There's markets. What else do they do in the forum? The what?
Discuss.
There are some. They discuss things, and specifically they have law courts in the forum. So what would Agare Kausam be? She's giving an example of a woman who went to the law courts and did what?
Judge.
Yeah, exactly. Good. Took a case. Handled a case. So Kausa usually means cause, sometimes case.
Hortensia is a person?
Yes. So these, and she's a female person, right? So Lilia gave speeches. Hortensia, so didn't Hortensia Eget Kausam, didn't she manage a case?
In the forum of the Romans.
Good. So didn't she handle the case Romanarum too? That's interesting too, right? Not Romanorum, but Romanarum. So didn't she handle or plead the case
Of Roman women.
of the Roman women? Very nice, in the forum. And we're about to learn what that means. So didn't she plead the case of the Roman women in the forum? Aaron?
In bello Culili triumviri Culieres Romanas Equinium dare userunt. So is this in the Civil War?
Very nice, in the Civil War. Very good.
In the Civil War, Roman. Oh, I didn't know what.
Which one's the subject?
Triumvirate.
That's your subject. And so in English we just call them the, what do we call the triumvirate? The triumvirate. Good. So in the Civil War, the triumvirate did what? What did they do?
Commanded.
Good.
The women.
The Romanas.
The Roman women.
Good.
To give rewards.
To give, not reward, but pecunia, more specific than reward. Money. Good.
Wait, sorry, what was the last part?
So in the Civil War, the triumvirate commanded the Roman women to give money or to pay money.
So I support the army or something.
Yeah, to support them and their causes.
Actually, I could get
You can, that doesn't mean they'll give it to you.
I connect.
Sed Hortensia in foro dixit, cur nos pecuniam dare debemus. So, but Hortensia in the forum said,
Good.
why no money?
Why debemos? Why
Don't you? Why give money?
Why debemos? What's debeo? Like your debit card is what you
Okay.
ought or owe. Good. So why, and the mus ende mark means who?
Why don't we?
Good. Exactly. Why should we?
Why should we
Dare pecuniam.
pay money?
Pay money. Exactly. So she stood up. She was speaking out for the Roman women. Why should we pay money?
No, it's not why should we give
That's what I wrote.
Right. So this is a little tricky because normally we don't see nos as a nominative. We see it as an accusative. But here it's emphatic. So why should we pay money? Adele?
Nullam auctoritatem in civitate habemus. We have no authority in the city.
Exactly. Beautiful. Just saying, why should we support your causes when we have no say in your causes? Emily?
Si hostis means pecuniam vobis dabimus sed nunquam pro cili bello exilium.
Good. For a Kiwili, for a civil war. Good, and we will never give, you said aid, right? Auxiliary. Yeah, good, exactly. So if enemies, and I'll get hostes, foreign enemies, right? So if enemies come, we will give money to you, but we will never give help for a civil war. See, they're saying you're asking us to do the impossible. Shirley?
He's extremely these words have moved the triumvirate to wait, this is wrong.
So what case are he square beasts?
So they're acute or ablative plural.
Ablative plural.
So with these words.
Good. So with these words, the triumvirate.
The triumvirate was moved.
Good, and a little stronger than that was Kogo, guys? Was forced, was compelled. Concedere. To what would that become in English? To what? Close. So remember what kedo means by itself? Yield. So just like in English we say concede, like you concede your concession speech, right? What the unsuccessful candidate gives. So they were forced to concede. They were forced to give in or yield. Emil?
Pueri Romani de his et de Cornelia, Claudia, Lucretia, Tucia, ipsa Caecilia, Metella nostra in ludis legend, audiunque et semper legend, audiunque dum Roma manebit.
Good.
So the boys of the Romans,
Good, or the Roman boys.
the Roman boys,
And then what's where are the verbs that go?
legunt.
Good. Legunt audiunque.
Wrote it here.
Not wrote, but
Read
read. But just present tense. So Roman boys read and hear
about this,
about
this and about Cornelia, Claudia, Lucretia, Tucia, and Caecilia Metella herself.
and they say nostra about nostra Caecilia.
Us.
Not nos, that'd be no beast, but
Them.
our.
Our.
Good, about our Caecilia Metella herself. And just to be very specific about the his, so de his, what form is that? That's ablative. What case? What number? Plural, and what gender is it? Or feminine or neuter, right? We can't tell, but here, what's it going to be? So Roman boys read about.
The deeds.
Could be these things, or it could be.
Was it because it was done by women?
Could be about these women, right? So either one. I think here they mean the women. So Roman boys read about these women, meaning Lilia and Hortensia and all the ones we've already talked about, and about Cornelia, Claudia, etc. The other ones we haven't talked about. Good.
What was the last part of the sentence?
So Roman boys read and hear about these women, and about Cornelia, Claudia, Lucretia, Tucia, our Caecilia Metella herself. Oh, in ludis. Emil, what was in ludis?
In the town.
In the
City.
where do boys read about?
School.
In schools.
Et semper legunt audiunque dum Roma manebit. And they'll always read and hear.
And what tense? Legent, audient. They always.
Hear.
That'd be legunt.
Oh, heard.
Will read and will hear. Dum
Um,
Roma manebit. Dum, you know what dum means? It's while. So while Roma manebit.
Rome stands.
Well, Rome stands, exactly. Good.
future? Does it have
Money bit, it is, good. Which is, that's the way they do things like that in Latin. In English, we would usually say while Rome stands, not while Rome will stand. But, so either one is fine, but I'm glad you recognize that it's
So it should be
Well, very literally. Good. Mulieres Romanae bonae, civitatem muniant. Who are the mulieres Romanae bonae? Good Roman wives or good Roman women. Muniant civitatem. What do they do? Fortify the. Just the civitatem. There's nothing modifying it, right? Because bonae goes with the mulieres. So fortify or strengthen a state. Ubi pericula venient. Ubi? When? Good. When pericula.
When danger comes.
When dangers come.
They
Paratais.
will always be prepared.
Beautiful.
Oh.
Alright guys, are there any questions about that? So, Ido's not here, so I think we should move the song lyrics to Thursday when everyone's here, right? Because otherwise Emil will be all by himself. So hopefully everyone will be here on Thursday. But has everyone done? Have you all done your song lyrics? Yeah? Yeah. Okay, lots of nodding. Good. Okay, so we'll do it Thursday for sure. Okay?
I just don't think you want to hear them.
What?
I don't think you want to hear them.
I do want to hear them. I want to hear them very much. I'm very excited. But I think we should. Okay. So right now.
Salve.
Is she not in her costume?
Lord.
Sure.
Well, correct.
She's not good.
Oh.
Okay, so we're gonna do the exercises from this chapter.
No new grammar today?
Well, I can give you the first chapter.
No, I mean like here. Here.
Oh.
Yeah, I just said, oh.
Okay, but the sooner we get it done, the more good movies we'll be able to
I
watch.
think how much we enjoy it. Which is great.
Yeah, except then we would just be watching like a sad movie about.
It's not sad. It's interesting.
The options were rape in the military or
I
HIV.
feel like, yeah, and it both sound fascinating.
Wait, which one did you pick?
No,
Right.
he picked to watch a boring movie that no one cares about.
Wait, why did
I'm
you
better
pick
about
it?
this, by the way.
I see that. I sense your bitterness.
So why is it your
Hi,
fault?
Anna.
Because
I sent her a Snapchat yesterday from here.
kind of
Maybe I'll do it again.
decide kind of.
So?
Okay, so you will need paper for the Latin to English part.
No. Okay. Are you collecting?
No, but you'll want it to study for the
So we
quiz and
put it on the
stuff.
same page.
Yeah, as your notes and stuff, yeah. So the fourth declension, so just the Latin to English. So Mark, what does the first sentence say?
Why?
Not why. Quid,
What?
what's quid? What? Good.
All right. Okay. Good.
Uh-huh.
It was fine.
What?
What is there? What to
What? Where's your verb?
tennis? So what?
Teneo tenere. Hold. Good. And the S ending, Mark, means?
You. What
Good.
do you hold?
What do you hold? Manu tua.
To yourself. To
Manu.
others.
What's manus?
And
Good.
what do
In
you
what
hold?
case is manu tua?
To.
Ablative. Very nice. Because remember, manus is what gender, therefore? You can tell here without even knowing.
Masculine.
Manu tua. Feminine, right? So again, domus and manus are feminine. The other fourth declensions we're learning are all going to be masculine. Okay, so just remember those two are feminine. So what are you holding? What are you holding with your hand? Okay. Good. Emily, the next one.
Hockey, Kuros, Casofre, Vita, the waiter, the speaker, so worries or
Careful, because pauki and kura don't have the same ending, right? So what kind of ending is pauki?
no,
Neither.
it's not
Masculine nominative, right? So pauki,
So,
few men, good. And that's your subject, because kuras is what case?
it's
Accusative, so we'll come back to that. So few men, and where's your verb?
Later. Now, just kidding.
Where does the verb like to go?
At the end, also.
Possum, good. So few men possum,
Are
are able, very nice. And then we're going to look for what are able, good.
to
Good, disfigure, to hate, to look down on, to despise. And then we want our accusative, right?
the
Worries, kuras,
and
and
is that downfall?
and downfalls, misfortunes, good. And it's got to be what form is kasus, Adele?
Gender.
What? Not gender. What case is kasus here? So few men are able to look down on the cares and misfortunes.
But it's not long.
They aren't marked on here, but you're right, it would be long, right?
Is it
Because it's what?
accusative?
Accusative, plural, and what gender is kasus going to be? Masculine, good, because it's not domos or monos, good. So few men are able to look down on the cares and misfortunes vita
Is that enough?
of life, very nice. Leviter.
So, more weekly? I don't know. Like,
But it's not comparative, so just adverb, so
lightly?
lightly, very nice. So few men are able to lightly look down on the worries and misfortunes of life. Right? Okay.
Oh, really?
Good. Are there any questions about that one? So remember leviter, that iter ending for third declension adjectives when you want to turn them into adverbs. Aaron?
Alter exercitus circum circum montem praemisus est. Alter exercitus casu oppressus est.
Good. So we have, first thing to notice, right, is you have alter and alter. So when we have alter, alter, how do we translate it? Close. So it's because it's two things that go together, right? What does alter mean all by itself? The other, right? Another would be alias. So it would be the other, but if you have two of them, it's not the other, we say
Either or.
close, the one and the other, right? Okay, so the one, executus.
The one, or the one,
The soldiers are part of the
army.
army. Good. So the one army
The one army is,
is primissus. What verb does that come from? Good, very nice. Primito, right? To send ahead or to send before. And what form is this primissus est?
Your shoes are blinding.
the fourth principle.
Fourth principal part plus a formosum esse, which makes it what tense and voice? It's the perfect passive. Good. So the one army, primissus est, was
Was sending,
passive, was
being sent
sent. Good. Pri was sent ahead.
ahead
Circum montem.
of the round, or
Good. What's circum as a preposition? Around. Good. So the one army was sent ahead around
the mountain.
the mountain. Good. Alter.
The other army is being oppressed.
Good, but remember it's just perfect, not imperfect. So was oppressed.
Okay, oppressed
Kasu.
at home.
You're thinking of casa. Remember, we're not even going to use the word casa anymore. Just throw it out of your brain. Okay? Because really the Romans didn't use the word casa. We only had it because it was a nice first declension. So just forget about the word casa. So this is from casus. What's casus? Downfall or misfortune. And what case is casu? So the one army was sent ahead around the mountain. The other army was oppressed.
With their downfall.
With downfall or with misfortune, by misfortune. Okay, so one army got away, it was sent around the mountain. The other army was crushed by misfortune. So something bad happened to it. Okay. Adele for the next one. Post.
Casus, Duki, Noti, Casus, Est, Ille, Morton, Manu, Sua, Texas.
So we have post-quam.
After.
Good.
Not sale.
Nuntio. What's nuntio? Announce.
After the misfortune of the leader was announced.
Really close, really close. Just remember that would have to be do kiss. What case is do key? So after the misfortune was announced.
Oh, dated.
Dated.
After the misfortune was announced to the leader.
Good, very nice.
Then
Then ille. That, and what gender is ille?
It's masculine.
Good, so that
Man.
What did he do?
Exited. And came through.
Sought. So after the misfortune was announced to the leader, that man, the leader, sought
Death of his own.
sought death. What case is it? Manu sua. What case? Ablative. Good. So he sought death by his own hand. Okay. Rather chilling, depressing. But remember, suicide for the Romans was. Yes, there's a lot of stories like that. For the Romans, if it was death before dishonor, right? So it would be much preferable to kill yourself rather than be taken in battle. Okay. So postquam, what part of speech is postquam? Yes. Remember? Adele translated it perfectly. Not a preposition. Remember, there's the three of them. So post is a preposition, right? What does post mean, Aaron? After, right? Like after the war, post bellum. So it's a preposition. Nate, what is postea?
Postea. Is that an adverb?
Adverb, good, because what does it mean?
After.
After words, right? Because we have to add something in. And postquam, which means after, is then what part of speech? It's joining two clauses, right? After this, then that. Conjunction. Good. Emil?
Maiores gentes uriam minorum populorum spicere non debent. So the major families.
Good, or nations, and not just major, but remember it's that comparative idea. So big, good. So bigger nations, greater nations.
The greater nations did not vote.
Good, or how do we usually translate that? But they ought not. They should not. So bigger nations should not do what?
Should not look down on
Good.
the smaller like Europe.
Good. They should not look down on the Eura, what are your use Eurus? Laws are rights. Usually, so lex is like strictly the law, use is your right. So greater nations or bigger nations should not look down on the rights
Of the smaller people.
peoples, right? You shouldn't crush someone just because you're bigger than them. Good. Nate, did you already translate one?
What?
Did you already translate? I can't remember.
No.
Go to.
Domus desertae post impetum civibus asinotu reditae sunt.
Good. And I'm just going to tell you because it doesn't have the long marks, this would be a long U. Okay, so it's domus desertae.
So it can either be nominative, plural, or genitive, singular.
Good. Or accusative, plural. Good. And here there's a clue telling you which one it is. Anyone see what the clue is to help you? Desertae, wonderful. So domus desertae go together. And that means it's going to be what case? Could be genitive singular or nominative plural. So that's narrowing it down. Then we go to our verb, right?
Sunt.
Reditae sunt, so it's plural. So most likely that this is going to be
Plural.
nominative plural. Good. So domus desertae, what would that be?
I keep thinking Domus is master, but it's
Right. Dominus is the master of the
domain.
house. So domus is house. So domus deserti. What kind of houses are they?
The deserted houses.
Very nice. The deserted houses, and then we're going to go to our verb, ready, stem.
What's redo again?
So it's do, dare, which is what?
To give
To give re. To give,
away.
what is re?
Again.
Again or back. Good. So the deserted houses,
Were given back.
very nice.
To the Senate.
Senatu. They were given back. Who gave them back?
From the Senate.
From or by the Senate, right? Because what kind of construction is senatu, guys? The deserted houses were given back by the Senate. Ablative of agent, wonderful. Okay. So the deserted houses were given back by the Senate, and they were given back quibus
To the citizens.
post impetum.
After
Remember what impetus is?
I guess the impediment.
Not impediment, but it's just like in English when we talk about an impetus, it's like a forward movement. And remember, for the Romans, a forward movement is an
An
attack. Good. So the deserted houses were returned by the Senate to the citizens
After the
after the attack. Good. And post here is what part of speech, Ada? Preposition, wonderful, governing the accusative. Okay, good. Are there any questions about that? Okay. So how much time do we have, Mark?
How Mark would know.
Say 5 minutes?
5 minutes. Okay,
I
so
guess
Or
your
4
homework.
minutes? Anything like that. I can go on.
Couple minutes.
Couple minutes. Not really.
So I think, so your homework is just going to be to study for the quiz. The quiz is going to be just on the vocab from this chapter and the fourth declension. So it's not very much, so make sure you know it pretty well. So you know I'm going to give you pretty much all those vocab words, plus have you decline the fourth declension.
So from lesson.
So the vocab from
The
lesson.
one we did yesterday.
The one we did yesterday. Okay. With all the fourth declension words. Okay. So you can even get started.